It was me, Michelle was my editor in chief. Then we had 3 writers. I had a graphic designer. I had a video editor. I had an assistant, a lawyer on retainer. I have an accountant on retainer. Yeah, that's quite a few people, and yeah, we slowly, like, things were doing fine, like everything was working, but the problem was we were making good money, but all of that money was going to running the business. So like I was getting a salary, but it was small. Like I was paying myself the same amount of money I was paying other people in my business. Right. So it was like, and then when I read Profit First, they're like, well, you own the business. Like you should be making the most money. And it I don't know, it always felt wrong. But I was like, well, if I'm doing the work, then yes, I do deserve, I don't deserve money just because I invented the thing, right? I don't
I
know. I
mean,
don't know.
yeah, yeah. I was gonna
I
say,
mean, that's
what were you
not
doing before?
capitalism.
Yeah, because
I
I've
was
heard.
doing work. Yeah, I was working on Money Lab and Brew Cabin and other things, and other projects like software projects and stuff, while like everyone else was taking care of Swim University as my brand. But like Swim University was everything. Like that's where all the money was coming in from. And I just like had to realize like I should probably be more involved in the thing that's like paying for my entire life. Like I ended up going back to doing that, and I feel much better in that position because it's my baby. It's the thing I invented, and I want to work on it, and I want to feel like the work that I put in, I'm getting paid for that work. And I don't like the idea of like being a CEO and making all this money while everyone else is doing all the actual work, and then I'm just getting paid more than that. That feels, I don't know, it feels wrong to me. I know that's capitalism, but I
I was
don't,
gonna say,
I
it sounds like socialism is what you're aiming for, but
yeah, that's
I don't know.
maybe. Yeah, it's like it's just a moral thing. And so we ended up like getting really lean, where it was just like me and Michelle, and that Steph was part of it. And then Michelle decided that she wanted to do her own thing and start her own business and like be her own entrepreneur. And I was like, great. So she went and did that, and I supported her through all of that and still do. And at that moment, that was the decision point. Was like, do we hire someone to take her place, or do I go back into that position and get really lean with my business? And then what's the like, what do I have to do every day? It's like, okay, well, if I write a blog post every week on Swim University, is that such a terrible job that I can't do it? You know what I mean? No, it's absolutely not. I mean, I can certainly do it, and I actually like doing it. And so I've kind of committed to this idea that like, what's a good job? You know? And yeah, I can own my own business and I can have this ego and puff up my chest and all that stuff, but it's like it's still a job. And so what do I want to do? Writing blog posts about swimming pools is not that bad. And I can certainly do that, and I'm not really sick of it. And so that's what I want to do. And I want to create. I want to create things. I like doing it. And I don't need to start any more businesses. I'm done. I can just, sit back, nurture and take care of and build this like thing that I've spent my like most of my adult life doing, and be happy about that. And that's like, and just that sounds like a great life.
One thing I want to point out, because I think some people are like, oh, if I had the ability to hire staff, that would be fantastic. I would love to have a team. And for me personally, I really don't want to have a team because they
Yeah.
rely on you for what they're going to do and the direction of the company. So if you have that weight on your shoulder, it's stressful. And then you're also thinking, hey, I have to keep making this amount of money to pay them and to pay myself, profit first. So it's very stressful. And did you find that was part of the stress of having the staff? And maybe when Michelle was saying, hey, I'm ready to do my own thing, you were like, okay, this is kind of a chance to reset.
No, I never felt stressed having a staff. I learned very early on that when I hired people that I really related to, like the way I found Michelle was very unique. I created an online application that really didn't ask any questions about, are you good at editing words? It was, do you have the same taste as me? So it was like questions like, send me a video that you think will make me laugh because it made you laugh. Send me an article that you think is like the best thing that's ever been created on the internet. just so if I saw it and thought the same thing, then we are aligned as people. And so like if I believe something, you probably believe something, and like we have good taste in content. And so like editing and all that stuff can be taught, and I can like send them articles and books and stuff, and we can build them up and whatever. It just so happened that Michelle came from a SEO background, and she was a great writer, but then we also have the exact same taste in pretty much everything. And I hired her immediately, and almost immediately within like 4 months, like once she understood the swimming pool industry, like what we were actually, because like the writing part she never had a problem with. It was like pools. I don't, like I don't own one or whatever. Once she got through that phase, it was like, oh, I can leave you alone because and then like, what happened was we started hiring people, and I hired a at one point I hired a COO, so somebody to like take my place and like run everything so I could go do other shit. And it turned out to be a mess because Michelle herself was a boss. She was already like capable of that role, and I had put somebody in above her, and it just didn't work. And it became like it was like a teaching moment, because I was like, oh, this is somebody I can trust and rely on, and she can just do her own thing. And so it wasn't stressful, and we had honest conversations. Like we would jump on. We really never talked all the time. Like we never had a weekly stand up meeting or even a monthly stand up meeting. It was like every quarter I'd be like, "Are you okay? Are things going well? Are you happy? Like what's going on in your life?" And if she was like, "This is great. This is the best job I ever had," then she'll work. She'll do what she's supposed to do because she wants to, and that's the best kind of the best kind of person to work for, to work with. And so that was, I mean, she wasn't cheap. She's not like I didn't hire somebody overseas and like, some big VA firm or whatever. I invested in someone who could be like I wanted to invest in a clone of me, and I did that. And the great and unfortunate part of it was that she is a clone. Like we are the same type of person, and so she went and did her own thing, of course. And I never expected her to stay with me. I expected her to do this. And when she did it, at the moment, I was like, well, I could hire another person, or I could just, at that point, I was letting go of a lot of these other projects that I had hired her originally so that I can go work on. And on all of those projects, none of them really fell through, but I just was like, not for me. And I just like Swim University. I'm very proud of it. I'm very proud of Money Lab. I like being there. I'm very passionate about homebrewing, and I want it to be more involved with that site. And I was like, I have these assets, and here I am trying to build more and more assets. I should just kind of like work on these things. And then it was a moment where I had to decide it. But no, to basically answer your question in the longest way possible, I don't like managing people. I don't like looking over someone's shoulder, making sure they're doing the things that I want. I'd rather just empower somebody, let them do their thing, let them tell me what they want to do, and then go for it. So I had a good managerial approach, but I still didn't like having the stress of them existing and the business. I don't know. No. To answer your question, no.
It didn't stress you out. Okay.
It didn't stress me out, no.
Yeah.
But having a lot of people did, because it's a lot of money out the door. So you're operating at like razor thin margins at that point, and I'm like, I want a bigger cushion, in case like shit does go down.
Yeah. And I think, one thing is just your working style and your managing style. And my managing style is much different than yours and what you just described. That sounds crazy to me, I'll be honest with you, Matt. But
right.
Because I think you said you wanted to hire someone and let them tell you what they wanted to work on. That just sounds
all the
crazy
time
to me. Yeah. So
anyway. Well, if you hire a clone, then you have the same thought. So you're like, yeah, do that. Yeah, do that.
Right.
So and I don't want to call her a clone of me. She's her own person. We were we were similar types of people. Yeah. And when she had I would go to her and say like, hey, this company wants to advertise on this blog post. What do you think we should do? And she's like, no, we're not doing that. And here's why. Here's what we stand for and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, yes, that. Yep. Yep. You're right. You're right. I'm out. It's like, that's the best.
The other part of the equation is I it's a little different when you're hiring someone as perhaps like staff augmentation or something like that versus like partnerships. But
Yeah.
when you have someone that has the same skills and outlook as you, for me personally, I'm like, you have a blind spot. I'm like, if I want to partner with someone, I'm like picking someone with the different skills than me to complement each other versus like, all right, we got two duplicate people, but I know it's more complex than that. So
I know what you mean, though.
anything,
Yeah.
yeah.